The end began while Zara Hail was waiting for her family at Aruzo Prime Gateway. She didn't notice it at first. She had uncoupled her savant from her forearm and slipped the personal communications device into her jacket pocket. She was unwilling to let it disturb this moment, but was simultaneously still too wired into the colonial administration to risk actually deactivating it entirely. A half-day's leave had been prearranged, but for someone of her standing, Chief of Staff to William Forbeck, Governor of Quan, there was never really such a thing as time off. Her hand strayed instinctively toward the savant, but paused when the gateway's speaker system went off. A loud chime followed by an automated voice announcing an arrivals update. The landing shuttle from Star Pilgrim was inbound. Estimated docking in 5 minutes. Jord time. It was ahead of schedule. She wasn't ready. It had been over 3 years since she had last seen Hiram, her husband, and their son and daughter, Max and Elle. There had been viz calls, of course, but they could never compare to being there, to feeling the warmth of a hug or catching the gleam in smiling eyes. It had been a nightmare, being absent, but she hadn't admitted it to anyone, not even to them or to her father, who had promised to look out for her family while they were back home on Jord and she was out here, at the end of the full, grasping extent of the Federation's reach. Quan, the jewel in the crown of soul expansionism, an outpost that, thanks to the ease of travel through the neighboring wormhole, had become a bustling hub of human colonization. All the successes of the last few years meant the administration staff sent from Jord had been worked off their feet. It had been impossible for Zara to get leave to go back to the mother world, or even to find time to bring her family here, until now. She felt her savant go off again, but resisted the impulse to check it. This was her time. For months, she felt as though she had been chiseling off fragments of her soul and using them to fuel Quan's government. Forbeck was a formidable figurehead, but like all politicos, he relied on his staff to actually run the show day to day. That made Zara the head of the whole operation, or at least that was how she felt. As Chief of Staff, she oversaw everything from habitation allocations to zonal disputes, the issuing of new trade and settlement dockets, the collection of tithes to be passed on to Lazax imperial officials, and the distribution of sustenance allotments. The founding of a colony was a life's endeavor, and for a while it felt like she had forgotten she also had a life outside of it.